Hello. So I just finished my latest training cycle, and it was extremely successful. So I'm pretty happy with it. Although there are some things I'm going to adjust. I'll probably use a very similar program the next time I run one. So the overall structure of the program, just quick uh, summary, is it was three phases. I had like a volume phase where I was doing a lot more reps with the weightlifting, and then for the powerlifting, I was doing sets of I think like 8 to 6, and that was 3 weeks, where each week was 10 days long. And in that week, what I did was I squatted once, front squatted once, deadlifted once, benched twice, did one arm snatches and bent presses 3 times each, and did did snatch and clean and jerk 3 times a week, with an extra day doing like variants that aren't the direct lift. So like 4 times a week on the weightlifting movements. Roughly speaking, I repeated this sort of. This is the way I did all the other phases. Just what changed is a lot was the volume and intensity. So I had a volume block, and then a strength block, and then a peaking block. Each one was 3 weeks, separated by a few days of deload. Moving forward, I probably can deload more intelligently. I just took like 5 days off. And so I'll probably work in something that's a little more structured. And then towards the end, during my peaking phase, so I had volume, strength, peaking. It was just singles. I got a lot of success during that phase itself, and then I did a taper, which I'm trying to taper and maintain technical qualities for 7 lifts, which are the ones off to the side, and what I think that the taper and the max outs themselves did not go particularly well, but everything leading up to that was really effective. I'll have to go back to the drawing board on how to taper and try and consume more material on that. And then the max outs. So let's go into like the individual lifts a little bit, and I'll talk about them. There are asterisks next to a few of these, and I'll explain those as I go through. So my snatch went from 210 pounds to 220 pounds. Snatch is a lift that I struggle with a lot. I'm going to go back to the drawing board pretty heavily during my like off-season cycle and take a look at what I think I could do to make this better, because relative to my overall strength level, my snatch is really not there. Also, my PR for snatch, which distinct from my max, is 230 pounds, and I've like in the past several years I've like never been able to hit anywhere near it, and this has to be just technical. I'm so much stronger, and so I gotta take a closer look at that. I moved from 210 to 220, although. And so what I did before this strength cycle is I did like soft maxes, where I didn't really take attempts for anything I didn't think I could hit for the power lifts, and then I just kind of sent it on the weightlifting lifts. So I tried 220 a bunch of times at the start of the cycle, really couldn't hit it. And now I hit 220, and one thing this is an all-time PR for not using straps. So going into even maxing out before I started the cycle, like my strapless snatch PR was like 195 or something. And so technically the 220 is like a completely new max, just without straps. Anyways, clean and jerk, I went to 315. For both the snatch and the clean and jerk, I think I struggle a lot with having like soft lockouts. I'm not sure if this is because I need to internally rotate more overhead, or if I just need to try and work on the cue of like really like exploding upwards and punching out, because I'm kind of a little bit concerned about hyperextension of the elbow, so maybe I'm holding back a little bit on that. But I'm pretty soft on my lockout. So that and thoracic extension is also something I'm not very good in, because I don't try and do that when I'm doing squats or deadlifts, which is maybe something I need to work on in terms of just carryover for weightlifting, because I feel a lot stronger when I am in flexion rather than extension. Okay, so squat, the asterisk is 600 pounds is my old high bar squat max. I did not do a high bar squat max with reps going into this training cycle. And so I was using like my absolute max from before the pandemic instead of like what I hit before this training cycle. I hit like 500 pounds, no straps, no belt before the training cycle, or no wraps, no belt. Anyways, I hit 620 with wraps. Pretty happy about that. When maxing out on 635 for squat, that is actually when I hurt myself. This was the last max out I did, and I strained my quad, and it's unfortunate. It's still healing. It's feeling a lot better in just like 5 or 6 days, and so I'm hoping in like a week and a half I can start doing stuff loaded with it, maybe. We'll see how that goes. Like the day I did it, it really hurt really bad, and I like couldn't put any weight on it whatsoever. And now I can kind of like hobble up the stairs. So we'll see how that goes. Bench on a. So during one of the weaknesses of my training program, which I'm uncertain of how to fix, is there's a ton of shoulder volume. With a lot of the exercises, just about everything involves your shoulders, right? Snatch, clean and jerk, bench, overhead, one-handed snatch, one-arm snatch, and bent press, all pretty shoulder intensive. And so when I was looking to cut volume because my shoulders were feeling not so hot, and I was trying to avoid injuring myself, I cut from bench quite a lot. And so next training cycle, I'm probably going to focus on bench a little bit more. This training cycle I was pretty focused on the weightlifting, the deadlifts, and trying to pick up the bent press, which I think I did that pretty successfully. Deadlift was the biggest gain by like an enormous margin. I started out in the training cycle with sumo, or like a semi-sumo, like a really narrow sumo, and that's what I was doing. And then my PR for that is 565, but I hit 545 before starting this training cycle. I didn't feel that strong coming in off the pandemic, but or like just time off the gym, but so I hit 545 going in. 545 was my conventional max, but I haven't tried to max out in conventional like forever, because I've been lifting like sumo or semi-sumo, or however you want to look at it, this narrow sumo. And about halfway through the training cycle, I took one day and I just did a bunch of singles with like 405 or something like that, or 455. And I tried like a wide sumo, like a narrow sumo, conventional. And conventional just felt the strongest. And so I switched back to conventional. And then I deadlifted 600 like when I was maxing out. So that felt pretty good. 600 was one of my reach goals, so I'm pretty happy with that. I also hit my reach goal on clean and jerk. Let's see, did I hit reach on anything else? No, I don't think I did. I didn't really have reach goals for one-arm snatch or bent press, though. Although I was pretty happy. So one-arm snatch, I managed to put 10 pounds onto my one-arm snatch on both the right and the left arm. The number on the left is the left, and the one on the right is the right. So that was I was pretty happy about that. That lift like feels like really hard to make progress, kind of, and the lifts are really inconsistent. So like I'll miss stuff in warm-ups a lot, and then like sometimes randomly I'll just be able to spike something like 5 or 10 pounds heavier than perhaps I ought to be able to do, but I can't like replicate it. So there's a lot to be done technically there. I think I have to do like a lot of work not heavy though, because like when it starts getting really heavy, or like there's a medium spot between like maybe 70-80% where I think a lot of the training volume should go for the lift, because it has to be sufficiently heavy to like feel right. But if it's really heavy, it's I think the volume is perhaps not that useful because the inconsistency. And maybe this is just something that's I just have to do more reps and then I'll get more consistent, and then like heavier stuff will work better. But I was pretty happy to put 10 pounds on a lift. Was not expecting to put 10 pounds on a lift. And so onto the bent press. So the bent press, I was picking up this training cycle. I've done bent press with kettlebells a little bit. There was one day where I tried just like bent pressing the barbell, and I worked up to 105 with the left arm and 115 with the right arm. Other than that, haven't really done bent press before this training cycle. And I didn't do bent press maybe like the first third of the training cycle, was just trying to get like accustomed to things a little bit. And then I knew I wanted to include it, so I included it. After I included it, I started having a lot of trouble with the overall shoulder volume just being a lot. And I think it was because, like, technically I was not hitting the groove, or I was misgrooving bent presses a lot, which I think was a lot harder on my shoulders than it had to be. Than the volume of just the reps was. Just, like, because I was, like, misgrooving it, I think it was a lot harder. So the first day I tried, like, working up heavy with the bent press, I hit 135 with each hand. So maybe you could consider that like my starting max, but like I'd never even attempted like 135 before. And I was able to work up pretty good amount up to 145 with the left arm and 160 with the right. It feels so much weaker, like offhanded, just because I don't have like the wrist strength, like just like my ability to like make minor adjustments feels really weak with the left arm. And so it feels like I can't it feels like I'm not pushing up into the bar, and it's just kind of like floating out. Kind of hard to describe, but yeah, I feel significantly weaker with the left. But I managed to get up to 160. And overall, like my time training bent press on like a barbell is like only a few months, so I'm hoping this lift will go up a lot my next training cycle. So my 7 lift total is 2,400 pounds. I think my super total is it's like high 2000s, something around there. Pretty happy with this training cycle overall. When maxing out, so the snatches I just bombed out. The 220 I hit while I was peaking, and I attempted it I think 3 times when maxing. No, I missed 215 repeatedly when maxing out. So I didn't even get to 225 attempts. And so like I think overall I attempted like 215 the entire training cycle. I think I attempted 215 9 times, and I think I hit it like 3 times, and I think I attempted 220 like 6 times maybe, and I hit it once. And so yeah, the really inconsistent on that. For clean and jerk, going into my max out day, my PR was 300, which I hit during peaking. And then I just, like, I missed 305 once, and then I just hit everything. I hit 305, I hit 310, and I hit 315. And then by then I was so fatigued, there was, like, no way I was hitting 320. Maybe in theory I could hit it, but I was really tired. I didn't attempt it a second time. For squat, during the max out, I hit, what was it? I did like 500, then I did 590, and then I attempted 635 and I missed. I think I messed up though. I don't normally take pre-workout, and I drink an energy drink beforehand, and I think I just like I should have just like done what I normally do, like in terms of everything, and not like deviated by taking stimulants, and then like everything just felt like a little bit off. Overall, during like peaking and maxing out, my mental was pretty bad. I had a lot of anxiety and nerves. I like wasn't feeling well overall, and so I think I don't know. It ended up not being as fruitful as I wanted, but like the main body program was just so effective that like it didn't really matter, and I hit a lot of my goals. So, but then let's see, bench. I did not attempt a bench max out because one arm snatch leading into like when I was gonna max out on bench. There was one rep where I extended really far, trying to hold it left arm with 160, and I think it stretched my pec out quite a bit, and it wasn't sore the next day or hurt at all the next day. The next day I deadlifted. The following day, so either the deadlifts messed up my pec a little bit or the one arm snatch, which I suspect. But so that just like, I was like, I don't want to push it. I missed a lot of bench volume in the overall training. I'm uncertain I could hit 340, which would be a new PR. And so like maybe I could re-hit 335, but I was looking to not hurt myself. And so I was just like, it's not a big deal. I just won't max out on bench. I hurt myself anyways on squat, but for deadlift, 600 pounds was my reach goal. I was very pleased in training when like I hit 570, or I wasn't even planning on hitting 570. I was supposed to hit 565, felt really easy. Then I tried 570. And then like the next week, like 585 felt really good. And so I was, at that point I was fairly confident I was going to hit 600. But like going into the program, my understanding was my max was like 545. I had taken attempts at 585, when I had a 565 max and missed it. And so I was thinking like maybe I could hit 585 at the end of the program. Very happy to hit 6. One arm snatch for the max out, I just bombed out of everything. I got really close to hitting 160 with my left arm. I like was fighting for the lift. I like was short being under it, like it was out in front. And so I like leaned in and like tried to extend, and I overcorrected, and then I lost it behind me, in in a pretty comically looking way. Like there's like the bars like 2 feet like over my head, and I'm like still holding on to it. So it hurts my pec just thinking about it. So that didn't turn out very well. I didn't max out on the bent press as well, because I already felt pretty hurt from the one arm snatch, and I had taken a lot of maximal attempts on bent press anyways, because I wanted to be fairly aggressive with it in training, because I only had a few months on it anyways, and so I felt I could just like push and max out fairly frequently and hit new maxes, which was true, which is what I did all throughout training. But towards the end, I think I kind of squeezed the last bit of toothpaste out of that tube, so I wasn't gonna really go for it. This upcoming training cycle, just some thoughts. There are a lot of weaknesses I want to work on, and I have some ideas on how to work on them. But in regards to like lifts, I think I'm going to try and pick up one arm clean and jerk, because that way I can do the complete old time weightlifting total, where it's snatch, clean and jerk, clean and press, one arm clean and jerk, one arm snatch. So I'll want to pick up that lift, and then I also want to pick up Turkish get-ups, which I think is probably, in terms of rotational strength, the one arm snatch, one arm clean and jerk, bent press, and Turkish get-up is probably just like the best 4 exercises to like act as a test of strength. So like part of that goes into training philosophy, but anyways, this video's been pretty long for me just talking about like my maxes and how my training cycle went. So I think I'm gonna end it here. If anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that fun algorithm stuff, and have a good day.